Book Review, My Effin' Life. From Holocaust Roots to Rock and Roll Stardom by Geddy Lee. By Brian Wilson, a lifelong fan of both Rush and Gershon, Geddy Lee Weinrib. Most rock memoirs try to convince you the party never ended. This one tells the truth instead. Geddy Lee's My Effin' Life isn't really about fame, or touring, or being the bass player in one of the most respected bands that ever plugged in. It's about where a life starts, and what you decide to do with the time you're handed. The weight of his parents' Holocaust survival sits underneath the whole story. Not in a dramatic way, in a quiet way. The kind of history that doesn't need to shout, because it never leaves the room. That honesty changes how you read everything that follows. Success stops looking like glory. It starts looking like responsibility. And if you grew up with Rush the way I did, the book feels personal almost immediately. I first heard 2112 in 1979. Something in it flipped a switch. Music could be heavy and smart at the same time. You didn't have to choose. I saw them on the Moving Pictures tour, then kept seeing them, decade after decade. Different cities, different chapters of life. Rush became one of those quiet markers that tells you how much time has passed without asking permission. What stands out most in the book is how normal Geddy sounds. No rock star chest thumping, no mythology. Just a guy who kept showing up and doing the work with two friends he trusted. Some lines stay with you. My parents survived the worst of humanity, so the least I could do was try to make something beautiful with the time they gave me. It doesn't read like inspiration. It reads like duty. Anyone who carries family history understands that feeling. You're not trying to be famous. You're trying to be worthy of the chance. Fame is strange currency. You spend your privacy to buy strangers' memories. That one feels truer the older you get. Because in the end, memories are all any of this becomes. Not headlines, not numbers. Just moments people keep long after the lights go out. Rush was never about looking cool. It was about chasing the sound we heard in our heads and refusing to stop until we got close. You can hear three stubborn kids in that sentence. Maybe that stubbornness is why the band lasted. No trends, no posing, just work. Real musicians recognize that immediately. Neil didn't just play drums. He built weather. Every Rush fan understands that without explanation. But coming from Geddy, it carries grief and respect at the same time. Not exaggeration, just truth said simply. And then there's Alex. One of the best parts of the book is how warmly Geddy writes about him, not as a legend, as a lifelong friend. School jokes, basement rehearsals, decades of laughter the fame never managed to break. You realize Rush wasn't held together by success. It was held together by friendship. And that's rarer than any platinum record. In the end, the music is what stays, when everything else quietly leaves. That line feels less like philosophy and more like acceptance. Because he's right. Careers end. Stages come down. But certain songs never really go anywhere. They just keep living wherever you first heard them. The book is also funnier than people might expect. Dry humor, self-aware, very Canadian in the best way. He never pretends the story is bigger than it is, and that restraint makes the emotional parts hit harder. Rush was always three guys against the noise. No scandals, no rotating lineup. Just decades of trust and showing up for each other. Reading about Neil feels like respect. Reading about Alex feels like love. Both feel earned. And it all brought me back to the last show. Toronto, Neil's final tour. You could feel something ending before a note was played. Two of my oldest friends and I made a long weekend out of it. Blue Jays game first. Cold beer, summer air. The kind of night that makes you forget how old you are for a few hours. We bounced through bars, telling the same stories we've told for 20 years. One of the guys got cut off by a Canadian bartender, which still feels impressive. We laughed harder than we had in years. Then the show, my 30th time seeing Rush, and somehow it still felt new. Standing there, I could see every version of us at once. Kids back in Massachusetts, fathers, old friends holding on to something that never really aged. Neil was unbelievable that night. Perfect, powerful, calm. Like he already knew it was goodbye and decided to say it with gratitude instead of words. Reading My Effin' Life after living that moment feels like closing a circle. Not dramatic, just complete. That's what the book really gives you. A reminder that music is an escape. It's memory. It's time passing. It's the thread connecting who you were to who you are now. Geddy never tries to sound profound. He just tells the truth as he remembers it. And that honesty is what makes the whole thing matter. My Effin' Life is an exceptional read for the true Rush fan, and a great read for the casual fan of rock music and the life of a true music icon. Final thought. If you want gossip, this isn't your book. But if Rush meant something real to you, if certain songs are still tied to places and people in your life, this reads like a quiet conversation you didn't realize you needed. And like the best Rush endings, it doesn't end loud. It just stays.
Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. Check back each week for new content. And don't forget to follow Guitars and Cigars on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. We appreciate the support.